Good evening, good morning, whatever it is in your section of the globe. I want you to hold down the Final Cut Pro fort, no matter where you are in your section. Get myself finished setting up here. So, what do we have here? Good morning, good morning. Absolutely. Look at this. You already got these great thumbs up. There's another one. First comment. So it's getting exciting. It's getting very exciting this time of the year. Why? Tell me why it's getting, in as far as the Final Cut Pro community and the Final Cut Pro world goes, why is it getting exciting? It's because we're due for an update to Final Cut Pro, a feature update. So let's get our comments here. Just in time to avoid collision with the football game. I don't have that issue. I do not have that issue. And our good old friend Yari Innanen. Good evening, Richard, from Helsinki, Finland. Absolutely, Yari. Hope you had a good birthday last week. And our friend Sean Beckner. Very, very cool woodworking video he has over there on Instagram. Moonwalk Photography from South Florida. Good morning. It's 7 a.m. here in Seattle. It's 10 a.m. here on the good old East Coast. So we're in the morning still here. Good morning from Toronto. Good morning from Montreal. A lot of people watching from Canada. Good morning, tuning in from Brazil. Absolutely. Good morning, Rich. Will there be an October Apple event? There absolutely will be an October Apple event. Well, let's put it this way. Yes, I think there's going to be an Apple event. There's certainly going to be M4 Macs that are going to be released. Lincoln, Nebraska. There certainly are going to be M4 Macs that are going to be released. You know, last week they introduced the Mac Mini with just a press release. So I expect an Apple event, end of October, maybe November the 1st, with the M4 MacBook Pro, 14 and 16, maybe an M4 iMac, maybe that new Mac Mini that's been due for like years and years and years. People keep talking about it. What is that on my jacket? Piece of fuzz. When you have cats, you never can tell what you're going to be getting into. You can't wear black clothes if you have cats. I wear black clothes anyway. Absolutely, Sean. You're welcome. I have Sean, I'm working, since you're a woodworker, I'm working on a greenhouse. I've refurbed it over the last year, completely put new walls in and stuff, and now I'm replacing some of the glass. I've got some good old Action 4, DJI Action 4 footage of that I'll be putting together and putting up maybe this week. Or there'll be a tiny Mac Mini. If so, sign me up. That's what they're saying. That is what they're saying. Even black cats leave here black clothes. Yes. The black cats I don't care about as much. I've had black cats. Tuxedo, when one of our favorite cats, Elvis, he's not around anymore, but he was a beautiful, beautiful cat. The personality out the window. But now we have an orange cat, ginger cat, and named Lucy, and we have a diluted calico, she has white, and her name is Amanda Jones, Miss Amanda Jones from the Rolling Stones song. Is my friend Brian Gresham. He's an old woodworking friend of mine from Columbia Woodworking down in Washington, D.C., where I worked for 14 years, something like that. 14 years as a millwork installer down in Washington, D.C. And I really, really like woodworking a lot. A lot. So why Why is it exciting times for Final Cut Pro? There's going to be an update to Final Cut Pro between now and 3 weeks from now when the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit happens, and could be Final Cut Pro 11. It's kind of, I've been saying that for months, probably 4 or 5 months now. Final Cut Pro 11, Final Cut Pro 11, and the fact that they've only had one update to Final Cut Pro, feature update in 2024. That was Final Cut Pro 10.8, and one bug fix to 10.8, 10.8.1 in 11 months. No, I'm sorry. In 2024, which has been 10 months now, one update, one bug fix in 10 months. So it seems like they're saving up for a big release. I am expecting a feature release, whether it's actually whether it's actually Final Cut Pro 11 or 10.8 point something. I don't think that's going to be it. Or 10.9. Once again, Logic jumped from 10.8 to Logic Pro 11. I expect Final Cut to do the same thing. So I'm expecting Final Cut Pro 11 at the Creative Summit, where we get to see the Final Cut Pro team. We're going to talk a lot about the Creative Summit. Do you think it will be a free update? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's been no forewarning that they're going to charge for it or do a subscription. Let Logic Pro 11 be your guide. Logic Pro 11 went from 10.8 to Logic Pro 11, 6 months, no subscription, no fee. It was a free update for existing users. I expect Final, why wouldn't they do the same to Final Cut? No subscription, no charge. Yes, I think it will be. Now, what's going to be in Final Cut Pro 11? That's the question now, isn't it? That sounds really fun. I did a sign video on YouTube with lots of special effects in the video. I'm working on the second episode to the sign making series right now. Very, very cool. So Sean and I have been talking back and forth about the Action 4, DJI Action 4, the DJI Action 5. I have the Action 4 here somewhere. Do I have it here? Oh, yeah, it's right here. I have the Action 4 here. This is what I have right now. I'll either be getting the Action 5. They just had a firmware update that upped the data rate, doubled the data rate, and better live streaming quality. So I really like the Action 4 a lot. I like what I've seen in the Action 5. But Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern, the Ace Pro 2 is going to be debuted. The Insta Ace Pro 2, which is their action camera with the flip-up screen. And I wouldn't buy that now because it doesn't have LUT support, doesn't have any kind of a log, and it does not do 10-bit. It only does 8-bit with no log. Thumbs down on that. I wouldn't even touch that. The Ace Pro 1. But the Ace Pro 2, I won't buy the DJI Action 5 Pro until I see what the Ace Pro 2 has to offer. I would not even consider the GoPro 13. That's behind both of them. It's too many things that I don't like. Tyler Darlington, am I the only one, but as an experienced Final Cut Pro user, does it seem impossible to find a job employer who doesn't dismiss you because of Final Cut Pro being your main primary NLE? So, Tyler, here's what I would say. When I got a job down at the National Archives in Washington, D.C., and I became their main video guy down there, let's say, I only had Final Cut Pro on my resume. They had an Avid system. Not only was it an Avid system, it ran on a PC. Two things I knew nothing about. But I walked in there and they say, well, we don't have Final Cut Pro. We have Avid on a PC. Is that going to be a problem? No. It's not going to be a problem at all. I'll learn Avid. I can edit on Avid on the PC. It'll take me a week or two to get up to speed, and I'll edit on it. That's how I got the job. There's nothing about Avid on my resume, only Final Cut Pro. If you're looking for a job now, whatever market you're in, the region of the country, whatever they're hiring videos, if they're hiring Premiere video editors, I would learn Premiere on top of Final Cut. If they're, if they want DaVinci Resolve editors, I would learn DaVinci Resolve as well as Final Cut so I can put it on my resume to get the job. I didn't have it on mine, and I switched the Avid system over to Final Cut between 6 months and a year. I was post-production supervisor down there. Between 6 months and a year, it took me, but I switched it over to Final Cut Pro, Final Cut Pro Classic at that point, and then eventually Final Cut Pro 10. But I wouldn't limit myself if I was in the job market. It's just like, okay, in the 70s, I worked on highways and bridges. Started as a laborer, became a carpenter's helper. I did surveying work, and then I learned how to operate heavy equipment. I can operate a backhoe. I can operate a small loader. I can operate a bobcat. So I didn't go in there to the job and say, oh, I only can operate a bobcat. That's all I can do. Not good enough. If you're in the job market, learn more than just Final Cut Pro. You can always keep Final Cut Pro as your secret ingredient, because that's what I did at the National Archives. What I did was, I had an edit suite on the 5th floor, and they referred to that as the Avid room. And they'd always say, did you do that in the Avid room? And I'd say, yeah, I did. But after a while, I took a Mac Pro up there that wasn't being used, and I had Final Cut Pro, and I was editing in Final Cut Pro. And when they asked the question, when the people that I did videos for at the National Archives, did you do that up in the Avid room? Yes, I did that in the Avid room. I just didn't do it on Avid. I did it on Final Cut Pro. And they liked my stuff more and more and more. And as I got comfortable there, and as I got more power, I switched it over, got rid of the Avid, switched it over to Final Cut Pro. Could I have stayed there if they stayed on the Avid? Absolutely. Absolutely. I learned to edit on the Avid at that point for the first 6 months, because that's all I had. No problem. I'll learn it. So, but I'm saying, if you're looking for a job, learn whatever NLE you think will benefit you the most. At least get the basics down and be able to go in there. That's what I would do. But I mean, if I was learning anybody that's, up and coming, somebody's out of college, I would learn DaVinci Resolve, because it's kind of like the in-between everything. But I'd always recommend getting a copy of Final Cut Pro and keeping Final Cut Pro in your pocket, or use it for your own personal projects or whatever. And if you need Premiere to get a job, learn Premiere. That's all I would say. Once you learn how to edit, switching from Premiere to Final Cut to Avid to DaVinci Resolve is not as difficult as starting out editing. If you know how to edit, if you know how to do an insert, and you know how to do an overwrite, and you know how to adjust audio, and you know how to do titles, switching from one NLE to the other is not as difficult as learning it from scratch, obviously. So that's what I would recommend. Is it possible to get access to Logic Pro loops and get some editing of it inside Final Cut Pro directly, no round trip? Can Apple make this as a future update? I would be surprised at this point, pleasantly, if they did that. Apple loops, I don't know which ones, I guess the ones in Logic, what you're talking about. Logic has a very, very vast, hundreds of gigabytes sound loops and libraries and MIDI and this and stuff like that. So I've been using Logic for over 10 years. I use it as a live recording, and I also use it to do advanced audio. When I need to jump out of Final Cut Pro, I take the audio into Logic and do it there, and then bring it back into Final Cut. But I don't do round tripping, no. Richard, have you experienced that Insta360 Flow suddenly switches off when in use? Mine have the tendency to sometimes switching off mid-recording. So, yes, but mine is because I'm right at the balance of how much weight it can hold. So sometimes I'll be filming and it'll just go broop, because I'm really pushing the limit with my iPhone 16 Pro Max at the case with the DJI mic receiver plugged in. So mine will just do that. Yes, I've had it happen before. I expect it. I'm prepared for it if it happens. Well, I only use the gimbal. I don't like cages. Okay, I've had cages for years for my iPhone. I don't like them. No matter how good you are, you're not as steady as a gimbal. Gimbal's much better, dramatically better. If I'm walking and talking, interviewing people on the street, I'm going to be doing that today, later, I'll use a gimbal. If I'm just stationary, no, I take it off the gimbal and put it on just a tripod. So in that case, I don't have to worry about it. But sometimes when I'm walking and talking, almost always I use a gimbal with my iPhone 16 and my iPhone 15 Pro Max before that, and iPhone 14 Pro Max before that. But if I'm stationary, no, just put it on a tripod. Or in my case, I have a monopod. But I have had that happen, yes. But I've had that happen with the DJI OM5 too. It happened with it's not just specifically Insta360. I've had it happen with the DJI OM5 as well. So we got some very, very cool stuff happening today. I mean, not today, but 3 weeks and a few days until the Creative Summit. Yari says, people that pay me tell me to tell a story in the best possible way, don't care what software I use. Exactly. I mean, most of the people that are watching Final Cut TV are interested in Final Cut Pro. Certainly, it's my main NLE the first one I go to. But could I edit in DaVinci Resolve? Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I edit in LumaFusion on the iPad? Yes, I've done both of those things. So if I got a job and they said, well, DaVinci Resolve, I said, I'm your man. I'm your man. Get me into the job. Let me edit in DaVinci Resolve. If I get opportunity to incorporate Final Cut Pro, that's what I'll do. But you're absolutely correct, Yari. People pay them to tell the story. Now, it depends. If they have a company and that's what they use, you're going to have to learn that. But learn it going in so you're not fumbling around. One of the best things to learn is keyboard shortcuts. Whether you're on Premiere, whether you're on Avid, whether you're on Final Cut, don't go into a new job and be searching through the menus on where to find stuff. Learn your keyboard shortcuts. That's the best way to impress your new boss as an editor. Can we say iPhone gimbal you use is like the Steadicam Junior for a camcorder? Yeah, it's like a Steadicam Junior. It's a lot less expensive and a lot less training. But I mean, if I'm doing something high-end, I have a bigger gimbal. It holds 6 or 7 pound payload. So if I'm doing something bigger, I'll put my Lumix S5 Mark IIX in that with the big lens, and I'll use that. But I always use a gimbal if I'm walking, if I'm interviewing people on the street. If it's just a static shot, no, you don't need a gimbal. Don't put it on a gimbal and put it on a tripod. Just put it directly on the tripod. Just put it directly on the tripod. Hey, I got a new YouTube animation. Like and subscribe. Look at that. Pretty cool. Every once in a while, I like to surprise people. So we're going to get an update to Final Cut Pro within a month. Feature update. Now, in 2016, Apple did an Apple event the day before the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. And they released Final Cut at the Apple event with the new MacBook Pros. So, probably going to be an Apple event in 2 weeks. What's today? Yeah, and not this coming week, the following week. They might send out invitations this week. I mean, next week, maybe. We'll have to see. But could they introduce a new version of Final Cut at that? They could, but I don't think they would because the Creative Summit is so close. Now, they could. Here's what they could do. They could show the new M4 MacBook Pros, 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's going to be hard for me not to buy one of those, but maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm not buying it on day one. I don't need it on day one. So the idea is they could preview a new version and just say, this is a new version of Final Cut coming out later this month, coming out later this year, and then let us see it hands-on at the Creative Summit. The Creative Summit is November the 13th through the 15th in Cupertino, the home of the Final Cut Pro team. That's where their offices are. I'm fluent in both Premiere and Resolve because I also teach those, but I still prefer Final Cut Pro for editing. We're on the same page there, Mr. Yari. I'm not fluent in either one of Premiere or Resolve. I haven't touched Premiere for a long time, but Resolve, yes, I do edit in sometimes, especially if I have to caption something, especially if I have to do text-based editing for a long-form interview. I use DaVinci Resolve. But I still go to Final Cut primarily first, sometimes LumaFusion, sometimes DaVinci Resolve, but more often than not, Final Cut. Our good friend Alista, good morning from Jamaica. See, we have a worldwide audience, worldwide Final Cut TV audience there. Fantastic. No, that's my backyard. Let me just do something here. Let me just do this. I'm going to do this a little bit of adjustments. There we go. So that, as you know, is the backyard, and everything's changing colors. Now you can see this tree, the first tree to my, I don't know what direction it is, whatever, this way. The first tree is a dogwood tree that's turning red for the fall, and just beyond the dogwood, up higher in a darker red, is a Japanese red maple that's going to be in the backyard. Everything else above me, these are oaks and pines, and they're still pretty much green. You can see a little bit of the leaves on the ground, but they're pretty much still green. The majority is still green. So I read iPhone 16 Pro Max random shutdown. Users report this bug. You can see that for yourself. I haven't seen that. There's been no random shutdown since I bought my iPhone 16 Pro Max. So anecdotally, I have not seen that. Whenever you release millions of iPhones, of course, some of them are going to have a bug, whether it's software. If it's hardware, Apple will take care of it. They will take care of it. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I got a few things. What do I have over here? I'm going out and filming this afternoon and down on Main Street where I normally do. They have a fall festival. something like that, Fall Festival, down on Main Street. So the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, there's a couple of things I want you to be aware of. Let me just pull this over here. Oh. Previous quick notes. Let me see. Shared. Let's do this. Let's do this. Well, let's just do this then. Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. So these are some of the things that I'm involved with. These are some of the Final Cut Pro centric groups. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 things there. Let me get my much gone up. Here we go. Let me just turn this on. Change this to Squircle. There we go. So there's 5 things here on the screen that are my projects, Final Cut Pro projects. You have FCPX.TV, which is the longest running Final Cut Pro website by far. Right below me here is Final Cut Pro Radio, which is the only Final Cut Pro dedicated podcast out there. Final Cut Pro Tips and Tricks is one of my many Facebook groups. I have about half a dozen. This is one of them. It's got 13.3 thousand members, Final Cut Pro Tips and Tricks. Of course, you are watching Final Cut TV and Coffee, which is my main Final Cut YouTube channel, broadcast every week. And then over here, I have the Final Cut Pro on Twitter. What do they call that? Community. Final Cut Pro community on Twitter. That's 5 things you can see on screen here that I have, that I'm involved with Final Cut Pro. Nobody has this many things going on with Final Cut Pro. I have all these, and this isn't all the things that I have, but these are 5 main ones that I have. Just in case you didn't know. I've got some articles coming up on FCPX.TV. They'll be being posted shortly. And when people, I often say this, and I'll say it again here, it's easy to start a website. It's easy to start a podcast. What's hard is to keep it going year after year, month after month, week after week. So I've been doing FCPX.TV since Final Cut Pro came out. So 13 years now. I've been podcasting for almost 20 years. Now, I didn't start the Final Cut Pro radio or podcast 9 years ago or 10 years ago. I can't remember. But I was podcasting 10 years prior to that. So I've been podcasting almost 10 years, almost 20 years. Richard, do you edit in Final Cut Pro in long GOP or only in iframes? Long GOP usually. Back in the days, the computers didn't handle long GOP very well. Now it's just like they can do it blindfolded. So now if I'm doing a long form or something of high importance, then I'll switch everything to iframe. If I have control over all the filming or what I need, I'll do it all in iframe. ProRes log, if I have the option, since the iPhones shoot ProRes log now. But I have no problem. I'm on a 2021 MacBook Pro, M1 Max. It handles it fine. Handles it completely fine. Let me pull this up. New notes. Here we go. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I pulled it. So when I keep things in in notes, images, videos, audio, notes themselves, in notes. And if you pull a graphic off the note, you have to be careful because if it pull it off, sometimes it won't come back. I mean, if you pull it off and take it somewhere, it's disappeared. So you have to do it with option drag, so you have a copy. But I did that. I pulled it off somewhere. Let me see if I can get a copy of that. Well, I know I can. It's just a matter of, let me go over here. Here we go. There we go. So there's the two Bill Davises. This is a shot inside the Apple Spaceship Campus where they showed us Final Cut Pro 10.7 last year at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. And these guys are both friends of mine, and they're both named Bill Davis. And I always made the joke, I've never seen both you guys in the same place at the same time. So I got permission to take a photograph because you can't take pictures inside Apple campus for employee privacy. But anyway, that's just a little inside joke. Let's do this. For anybody that's considering going to the Creative Summit, look at that. Save 15% using the code FCP Radio TV. 15%. It knocks it down to almost $500, from $599 to almost $500. So I've been a media partner with Future Media FMC since 2016. Man, that's good. I've been a media partner with Future Media since 2016, and we're continuing that this year. I'll be covering and supporting the Final Cut Pro FCP Creative Summit. And for my listeners, 15% off FCP Radio TV. 15%. That's, buy me a coffee for that 15%. That'll be fine. That will be fine. So let's go over here to the, let me pull this up. Oh, Mamma Mia. I try to be organized. Usually pretty organized. Switch that over. And we'll do this. So here we are. Get rid of that. Here we are at the Creative Summit page. November the 13th to the 15th. Wednesday through Friday. Register now. New dates confirmed. So besides going to the Creative Summit, besides going to that, interactive sessions led by renowned video professionals and Apple Pro users, absolutely. VIP guest presentations. Let me get that up there. There we go. Tickets are $5.99, but if you use my coupon code, they're only $500, a little over $500, so you save that. But besides 2 full days of cutting-edge training, 1 day at Apple Park, Wednesday, you can't buy your way into Apple Park. You cannot buy a ticket. It isn't like Disneyland. But you can go there with this ticket. Access to networking Expo Night, interact with peers in town. Expo Night's very, very cool. A lot of vendors are lined up around you. You get to talk to them. And a lot of them will give you free software. Last year, our friends Philip and Greg gave us a free copy of their latest piece of software. Free for attending the Creative Summit. So you get not only the main training, you get to go to Apple Park. Some of the vendors will give you free software because you came to Apple Park. This is something new. AI training boot camps, live and online of their choice, values at $299 each. Apple certification exam voucher and prep course recording, $199. So you're getting way more than what you're paying. And here's, like I was saying, a goodie bag with digital products provided by sponsors. So that's very, very cool. And then here's down here. This is produced by FMC in association with Apple, NAB Show, and media sponsors. Look over here. Final Cut TV and Coffee. We are a media sponsor, of course. We have been for years, many, many years. This is our friend Chris Hawking. He has FCP Cafe. And our friend Michael Horton, LACPUG, over there. They're also media sponsors. I mostly edit XVAC HD or XVAC 4K and long GOP, 50 megabits a second, HD to 100 megabits a second, 4K at 30 frames progressive. Don't understand why long GOP badly seen. Too many editors work great. So the thing is, there's been a problem. Sony, whatever their version of the long GOP is I've seen problems with it. You know, stuttering and stuff. So that might be something that Sony is doing. I don't have any issues whatsoever with shooting H.264, H.265 on my iPhone. ProRes, of course, is buttery smooth. And ProRes, of course, is buttery smooth. And my Panasonic GH4, GH5, and now my Lumix S5 Mark IIX never have any problem editing the long GOP material for there. Thanks for supporting the summit. Absolutely. Not only will I be supporting the summit, I'll be reporting live from the summit. We'll be doing some live streams from the summit and playing clips. Typically what will happen is this. Summit starts Wednesday morning. Well, Wednesday morning is to get together, meet and greet, coffee. I'm presuming that FNC will have coffee and usually they have bagels and stuff for us. And, you know, get organized, check in, etc. As a matter of fact, let me show you. I have this up here. Let me show you this. Well, let me play a couple of videos that I have from last year's Creative Summit. Here I am outside of the hotel. I'm just going to play this a second. This is the room upstairs, and then this will go to the lobby here in a second. Elevator shot. This is the Aloft, which was about a mile away from where we're staying this year. This was a nice hotel. It just was a little inconvenient getting to the sessions each day. It was a mile away. Had to get an Uber or whatever. But this is a really nice lobby. They had a little snack bar, kitchen down there. It was very nice. This is a snack bar that was available in case things were closed. You can just grab something and charge it to your room. Very convenient. Now let me show you this. And they had a restaurant down there too, the limited menu. Here is what it looks like when you're signing in to the Creative Summit. This is last year. There's people actually showing up. That's fantastic. So that's what it'll be like for Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 to 11 or so. And then there's lunch. Then there's going to be lunch. Then we're going to get on a bus. I'm going to go to Apple Spaceship Campus. I love that. There's two things. I love going to Apple Spaceship Campus. We went for the first time last year. And of course, we see a personal, private presentation from the Final Cut Pro team. Final Cut Pro team is in front of the room. Final Cut, when I say Final Cut Pro team, I mean the Pro Apps team. But Final Cut Pro team / Pro Apps team sits in the front of the stage. Usually they sit on stools, 4, 5, 6 of them, and they each do a presentation. So last year we got the first presentation was Bill Davis, my friend, and he showed us Final Cut Pro 10.7. World debut. We got to see it as Final Cut Pro Creative Summit attendees. That's part of the deal. You're paying money. You're staying in a hotel. You're taking off work. You're paying for transportation. Thousands. It could be a couple $1,000s. We got to see Final Cut Pro 10.7 first. It was presented to us. After it was presented to us, Apple put it up on their website. But we got to see it first. I'd like to think the same thing's going to happen again this year. Maybe Final Cut Pro 11. Maybe we'll walk in that room and Bill Davis will show us Final Cut Pro 11. I'm not going to be disappointed if it's not Final Cut Pro 11. That's not going to happen. But there's going to be a new version of Final Cut between now and the Creative Summit. So with features, not just a bug fix. Not just a bug fix. Final Cut TV and Coffee seem the only Final Cut Pro event still alive, and I'm happy because all other users groups have vanished. Long live your podcasting, the best I've ever seen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Like I said, when I did the graphic before, I have 5 major venues of Final Cut content. FCPX.TV, Final Cut Pro Radio. It's the only Final Cut Pro Radio podcast. It's the only one. FCPX.TV, it's been out for 13 years. We're the longest running Final Cut Pro based website. Of course, Final Cut TV and Coffee will be going on 2 years. We get 87 episodes of this every Saturday. And listen, sometimes when there's not much going on in the world of Final Cut Pro, it's a little bit hard to do these. But you keep showing up, you support me. I appreciate it. Other vendors, future media conferences has been a big, we've been working together for years on this. So as long as that continues, obviously I'll be doing the same thing. And then we have the Final Cut Pro community over there on X Twitter. We have that over there. So, and I have Final Cut TV, Final Cut Tips and Tricks on Facebook. 13,000 some odd, but I have, there's also I have half a dozen Facebook groups, Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Tips and Tricks is the biggest one. And then we also have, let me pull that up. This is the biggest one. This is the biggest one, Final Cut Pro Tips and Tricks, 13.3 thousand members, 13,300 members. We also have Final Cut TV and Radio over there, right? Of course, we have that over there as well. Final Cut TV and Radio. I combined Final Cut TV and Radio. We have 2,200 members, so we have thousands of members over there of different things. I think we're live. Yeah, we're live on there right now. Here we go. So I have a very wide net of Final Cut Pro things. So there we go. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, adding to the viewer count. We have, it's too bad you can't make it to Summit this year either. Absolutely. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you tuning in and adding to our view count. That's very, very good. Absolutely. Another thumbs up. Thank you very much. Is Apple at the very minimum Final Cut Pro info list you as Final Cut info site to inform and help? So they do. I'm on the Apple.com website twice. Under Apple, under Final Cut Pro resources. I'm on the website twice. Well, I appreciate you all tuning in and adding to the view count. I was just going to say, we're getting 10,000 to 11,000 views per month on a YouTube channel. Most of that's Final Cut Pro. I have other things going on there as well. Final Cut Pro is a quiet luxury equivalent for NLEs. There's a massive content creation on features, but there isn't a community like Final Cut TV and Coffee. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's a nice thing to say, Rogerio. So, like I said, sometimes it's difficult to come on when there's not a lot going on in the Final Cut Pro community. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, adding to the view count. We appreciate it. Like I said, we're getting 10,000 views on our YouTube channel right now. We have 50,000 in like the last 4 or 5 months over the summer. So that's really cool. Very, very cool. And I'll be reporting from the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. And listen, it's all of you that tune in and watch. It's all of you that tune in and watch on these Saturday mornings and other times when I do a live stream. Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. Another thumbs up, adding to the view count. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So what else we want to talk about? I have a few more things going on. Here's a little clip. This is in between sessions. This is our friend Dylan.
That's Dylan. There was Dylan.
I don't know why the white balance is so bad. It's really good. Skin tone.
Hey Dylan, I'm crushing your head. Now the Kids in the Hall fan.
I didn't know I was on camera. This is my best session.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Make sure your sleeping bed nice when you show it in the morning. I do. I always make sure the background looks good. Always make sure the background looks good before I go live. So here's what I do. I'll get there. I'm going to start doing short live streams, 5-10 minutes at a time. I'll do one when I'm at the airport, for example, getting ready to come to California. I live on the East Coast. California's all the way across the country on the West Coast. So when I'm at the airport, I have 2 hours. I get there 2 hours ahead of time, 2 hours, whatever. When I get settled, I'll go ahead and do a little live stream. When I get to SFO, one of the airports around San Francisco, I forget where I'm going, SFO or San Jose. When I get to the hotel, I'll open up a live stream, do a little presentation. I want you to experience what we're experiencing, people who can't make it. For people who can't make it to the summit, I'm going to provide a window, a virtual window into the Creative Summit, so you can experience it as we are experiencing it. Now, I can't do any live stream with the Apple presentation. That ain't going to happen. So I did that 1 year, and I think it was 2017, and I did a Facebook Live while they were doing presenting. But since then, they've been clamping down. They don't allow that. So, but anyway, I'll get there. Well, in the evening, when the day's over, I'll usually do a live stream to let you know what's going on for the day. And then in the morning when I get up, I'll do a live stream from the hotel room before I leave. And that will be, once again, it'll be let you comment on what's going on. And I'll play clips, short ones, and interviews of people I interviewed around the community that day. And of course, report on any kind of activity that went on. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the Creative Summit. Absolutely. Absolutely. What else do we have here? I think I have. Here's last year we had let me make this a little bigger. They provided box lunches for us. FMC provided box lunches. So this is us outside. It's really nice, a little bit sunny. I try to get in the shade, and I'm talking to Brad. Some people are sitting at our table here. I think I see Chris Hawking in the background. And I had a question, and I answered it. I don't need
What
to.
are we getting today?
10-7. 10-7.
100%. Should we
No.
bet? Should we place bets?
I'm going to say it so I can use this footage if it's true.
Oh, then you can
better
edit it out
time it
later
right
so you
now.
don't have to be wrong
Yeah, exactly.
in the future. Got it.
That's the way it works. I don't need
What are we
to.
getting today?
So Chuck Braverman says, this is before we went to before the lunch before we went to the Apple campus. And Chuck Braverman says, what are we getting today? And I said, 10-7. 10-7. He said, and Brad said, are you sure? I said, whatever. I said, well, I'm just saying that so I have it on video that I did say it. So, yeah, we got 10-7. Are you allowed to talk about everything Apple shows you? So far, I've been to 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. All four of those, we had presentations from Apple and a Q&A on some of those. And then we jumped to 2023, which was last year. And every time the Final Cut Pro team shows us something at these events so far, we're allowed to immediately talk about it and encouraged to post it on social media. So even though we physically are there in the room and we get to see it first, the world knows about it virtually almost at exactly the same time, because we can take pictures of screens a lot of times and post it. Now, in 2019, there was no announcement. 2019 there was no new version of Final Cut Pro, but there was in 2016. 2016, it was 10.3. 2017, there was 10.4. 2018, there was 10.4.4. 2019, no new version of Final Cut. And then 2023, there was 10.7. So in 2019, no, we didn't have anything new to talk about because there was no version of Final Cut. There was nothing new. So we didn't have anything really that they showed us that everybody didn't already know about. But 2023, they're back on track again. They showed us 10.7. That's why I think they're going to show us Final Cut Pro 11 this year. Just we'll have to see, have to wait. I'm not going to be disappointed no matter what it is. My expectations are above average. They're up here. But based on last year, which was a good year, I'm not going to be disappointed, but it'd be nice to have that surprise. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's the backyard again. So are you allowed to talk about everything Apple showed you so far? Yes. Yes. So far, every time there's a new version of Final Cut, every time there's new features, every time there's new this, new that, we're allowed to talk about it. Could that change this year? Yeah, but you know how hard it is to clamp down on social media. I don't anticipate that happening. If there's a version of Final Cut Pro 11, if we get to see the presentation first, I think the same thing as last year. They'll show it to us. They'll call back to Apple headquarters, go ahead and put that on the website. It'll show up on the website listing all the features and all the good stuff. It's just that we get to see it live in person from the Final Cut Pro team. That's one of the main things you're paying for the Creative Summit. Meet the Final Cut Pro team. See a presentation from the Final Cut Pro team. Go to Apple Spaceship Campus. You can't buy a ticket. You cannot buy a ticket to go to the Spaceship Campus. This is a way you can. It isn't Disneyland. You don't get to buy a ticket and do a tour. But we, because we're going to the Creative Summit, do. So Final Cut Pro team is aware you are the relay for the ones who can't get there. Yes, they know. I think everybody in the Final Cut Pro community pretty much knows that I'll be there. I'm your window. I'm a virtual window inside the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. I'm going to open that window up multiple times, let you peek inside, let you make comments live, etc., etc. Let me show you what we did last year with the Expo night, which is one of the things. So here's the Expo night, and I'm just getting started the live stream. I don't know if you can hear me. It's very loud in here. I'm going to switch between a couple different cameras. Let me get this. We're going to walk around and talk to some people. We're at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit Expo night. So that's the Expo night. And what I typically do there, I live stream for 15, 20 minutes, let you see everybody that's there, talk to a few people. And I'll do that again this year. And now the other thing is there's a bar in the Juniper Hotel, at least there used to be. And there's a bar in the Juniper Hotel, and people probably be going there in the evening, so we're congregating from there. There's not really an event. There used to be some kind of game event there, but I don't think they're doing one this year, at least not so far. So I might do, once again, I'll open up a virtual window inside the Final Cut, let you see the bar, maybe talk to a few people, but it's not going to be half hours worth unless something really exciting is going on. It might be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, something like that, and let you see. I want you to experience it the best you can virtually to see what's going on. I will open up a virtual live stream from the lobby a few times. So, Final Cut Pro uses Buy Richard a coffee. Absolutely. You can absolutely support me. Thank you, Daniel. You can absolutely support me. I'm going to put this up there. I'm going to do two things. Let me just do this. Copy that. Copy, cancel. I'll put it up on the YouTube channel. I think that's clickable. I think that's a clickable link. Yes, it is a clickable link. So if you go over, let me see. If you go over here, and you click on this link, buy me a coffee. These are supporters recently. There we go. People buying coffees. So the idea is $5 for a cup of coffee, $10. Some people buy 2 or 3 or 4 coffees. Some people buy just one. It's completely fine. I will be spending this money that you're buying coffees at the Creative Summit, showing your appreciation for these live streams and stuff. And I will be buying it, coffees, probably some coffees, maybe some drinks at the bar. There's also a hamburger place that I really like called Habit, which is walking distance from the Creative Summit, from the Juniper Hotel. And I'll be buying hamburgers, and I'll call you out and say, hey, this person bought me a coffee. This person bought me a hamburger. This person bought me some French fries. I appreciate it. It isn't like I got a coffee and I ignore it. No, I appreciate each and every one of you that buys a coffee. So that is clickable. Let me just, I can turn it on here too. There it is, buymeacoffee.com/Richard Taylor. So yeah, that's clickable. The link's clickable on the YouTube channel. Absolutely. So what else? I think we have one more video from the Creative Summit. Let me see, where am I? Here we go. One more. I think I stopped and talked to Ian Anderson. Now, here's the thing. You see the way that it's got lines and stuff in it? This is the broadcast. When I was broadcasting live, it was a little bit, sometimes it would go in and out because of the internet. So when the video does this, I just try to sharpen it up a little bit. That's why it looks a little bit cartoonish. But anyway, this is walking around once again at the Expo night at the Creative Summit. I'm going to see how far away I can get from my MacBook and still keep this live. I don't know how long it's going to take. Because the screen is black. Continuity camera connected to my can't see it.
Well, the update looks good. It's I think the roles is going to be the most useful, and this scrolling timeline will be the thing people see most easily. So scrolling timeline's easy to see because it's fast and you can zoom in and out, and it worked really well. And the roles thing has a lot of legs because people should be tagging now their video clips with like, this is a VFX clip, this is a temp clip, this is copyright problems, you need to check if this is good, this is the client's favorite, don't lose it. All of these things can now be video roles, which you can see in the timeline instantly.
So that was just a little example. Usually, I think last year I was live for about 30 minutes, something like that. I'm not going to be live the entire time, but besides being live, I'm also going to be filming. I have 2 iPhones, 15 Pro Max and a 16 Pro Max. I have my DJI Action 4 camera, and I have a live streaming camera as well, for specifically, so I'd hopefully, I mean, when I'm streaming live, I'm completely dependent on the quality of the Wi-Fi. If they don't have Wi-Fi, I can stream off my cellular connection, hotspot. I'm just dependent on that quality. That's whatever quality they have is what the quality that the stream is going to be. So anyway, you can go over there and buymeacoffee.com/Richard Taylor. 3 weeks away, November the 13th through the 15th. I'm excited. I don't leave my place on the East Coast that much, but usually twice a year. The Final Cut Pro Creative Summit is absolutely my favorite. Let me just see what's going on here. Look, I got an ad. Liberty Mutual. Let me just make sure the stream's going okay. I think it is. Couple of ads. Just going to check and make sure. 3 ads? What the heck? They're only like 5 seconds each. There we go. I'm just going to double check. That should be fine. And let me see. We got people watching on X, people watching on Facebook, and people watching on YouTube. Absolutely. Now, I can't keep, when I'm streaming live, I really can't keep track of comments everywhere. Well, I can keep track of the YouTube comments, and for example, this is our friend over there, I Know Buddy on X. This is a comment from X, absolutely. And then there's a comment from YouTube. For some reason, the Facebook comments, they come through a little bit, but people usually comment during the week. I get a lot of views on these live streams after they're over. So later today, I'll be getting comments and people will talk about different aspects. So anyway, we want to do our usual Final Cut Pro team. Thank you, Final Cut Pro team. I'm sure you're working on Final Cut Pro 11 or some other big feature update. I sure hope we got text-based editing. That's what the big feature I'd like to see. Auto captions, text-based editing, maybe a roles-based mixer. It's been in there for a while. They haven't turned it on yet. We'll have to see. We'll be appreciative of anything that we get. And also appreciative to all you people who come and watch every week. It's absolutely my pleasure to be talking about Final Cut Pro on the show. So if nothing comes out this week, I probably won't see you until next Saturday. And the reason I did it 10 o'clock today is because there's an event happening. There's a Harvard Fall Festival locally that I'm going to be covering down on Main Street in Sykesville. I'm going to go down there and film some of that. Best way you suggest to send feedback directly to the Final Cut Pro team. Let me show you. Let me show you the best way. Let me just show you that. Let me show you right here. Go to FCPX.tv. This is my Final Cut Pro website that I've had for 13 years. And look at this. Look what this says. Send your request, bug reports, feedback to the Final Cut Pro team here. Click on that. It takes you right to the Final Cut Pro website. That's the easiest way to remember it. That's the easiest way to remember it. FCPX.tv. FCPX.tv. Absolutely. Our friend Sean, or from Final Cut Pro directly, correct. But if you don't have Final Cut Pro, if you're on an airplane, you got your iPad, you got your iPhone, you want to send some comment, you can't do it from Final Cut Pro. You have to do it so you can do it from the website. The point is, it's easy to remember. FCPX.tv. Been around for 13 years. The longest running Final Cut Pro website in existence. Now, some of you people that have been around for a while, there used to be a website called kenstone.net back in the classic days. And I liked what he did, so I continued what he did. I have links to articles. I have a lot of links to articles, which is what he did. He had links, a list of links. He had some articles because I wrote some articles for him. As a matter of fact, let's go over there. So here's the Ken Stone website. It's not active anymore, but he had the Final Cut Pro section. And let me see. I don't think anything this is current. No, there's none of this is current. But what I wanted to show you was this. I wrote the very first Final Cut Pro 10 article on kenstone.net. I wrote the very first Final Cut Pro article. It's called Rundown, right here. I wrote the very first one before Steve Martin wrote one. I wrote one called the Final Cut Pro X Rundown. And I went through all the features that we saw. May the 16th, 2011. May the 16th. So we did publish some articles, but he linked to a lot of other articles. This was the very first one, if you remember back that far. Talking all about the new version of Final Cut Pro. But anyway, I liked what he used to do. He had lists of links to different things, articles and things, and that's what I do as well. I took it up with FCPX.tv. I have articles that I've written. Now I am starting, let me just write this. Let me just do this real quick while I'm here. I have started a blog for the Creative Summit. So if you go over here and click on blog, I do have some entries, and I'm starting a blog. It's called the FCP Creative Summit 2024 Chronicles. So I'm going to be putting short articles here. There's the discount code, and you can go back to the blog index. Here's, I'm going to put video links up here. Jeff Greenberg, our friend Jeff. Hi, Justine. And here is, we do have a Final Cut Pro. This is the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit attendees. So people who are going to the Creative Summit in 2024. This is for meeting up at restaurants, hooking up at a bar. If you want to say, let's meet down at this bar. It's for if you need an Uber ride and you want to join in with other people. If you want to have dinner somewhere with people, that's what this group is for. It's a private group. And look, we're on there live right now. It's a private group. It's not open to the public. So this is, oh, here's something. Here's a little tips and tricks picture from last year. For example, the last Creative Summit. So that's one of my Facebook groups. I have it over there. Let me just see something here. So there's the code, fcpradio.tv. And do I have, let me see if I have. Yeah, I do. So let's put this over there. This is a little picture from, just a little photograph. They did a tips and tricks session, which is not listed so far this year, but they have a tips and tricks session. That's everybody up there on stage. Let me see it. Steve Martin, Final Cut Bro, Dylan Bates, Jen Jager, Mark Spencer. I can't see who. Jeff Greenberg, and there's somebody else up there. And they did a tips and tricks. Each one took turn giving tips and tricks, and this is, of course, toward the end. Now let me see what else we have. Do I have another one? I don't know if I have any more. That's just one of the ones I wanted to show you. This just shows you what it looks like inside one of the sessions. There's tables, there's chairs. You can put your laptop up, take notes. There's usually a Q&A. Everybody wants to be asked questions and things. So that's just what it looks like inside one of the typical. Now, this is a different hotel. This time we're at the Juniper Hotel, and I'll be putting up some more videos from last year's and previous creative summits over there at fcpx.tv, and then our Facebook groups. So this is the most exciting time of the year for us, Final Cut Pro people. Don't you think? Is anybody else excited about a new version of Final Cut? We'll have to see what they give us. But this is one of my favorite times of the year. This is my favorite event. Let me just check over here. Yep. Alrighty, I'm going to get ready to get out of here for today. I appreciate each and every one of you coming here and hanging out. Final Cut Pro, Final Cut TV community worldwide, as you saw at the beginning, all the people from around the world coming here and talk about Final Cut. The Final Cut Pro team watches this live stream. Thanks to the Final Cut Pro team for giving us a great product, and we want to see Final Cut Pro 11 or whatever you got. There's going to be no disappointment. I'll be happy. I'm really looking forward to your streams from the event, and I enjoyed those you made last year. Thank you very much. So I'll be playing some of those over the next couple of weeks. I'm also going to be doing a live stream testing some of my equipment because I'm doing things a little different this year than I've done in the past. So what do you want to do? Here's what you want to do. Subscribe, like and subscribe over there, my YouTube channel, Richard Taylor TV. And if you do, you'll be notified when I go live. I'm going to be doing some live streams, testing out microphones, testing out different cameras, testing out some different things as we lead up to the Creative Summit. And I'll tag them as the Creative Summit. Fantastic. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in here. Lots of thumbs up. We appreciate it. Any other questions? Final Cut Pro Creative Summit to get info you never get from any NAB. NAB is much bigger. NAB is 72 or 75,000 people went to NAB last year. In 2019, it was 92,000. The Creative Summit is a few hundred. But it's concentrated. It is concentrated. Final Cut Pro, little bit of motion and stuff. It's concentrated Final Cut Pro stuff. And it's everybody there is Final Cut Pro enthusiasts, Final Cut Pro editors from all over the place. All around the world they come from. We have some friends coming. I think Ian's coming and Chris Hawking are coming from Australia. They have probably the longest trip. I'm not sure who's coming from, if anybody's coming from Europe this year. Most of the people are probably from Final Cut. Final Cut not seen at NAB. Yes, that's correct. The last year they weren't there this year. They weren't public last year. They were not public last year. They were there meeting with behind the scenes with developers and stuff, but not publicly. So will they be here this year? I have no idea. I have no idea if they're going to be at NAB. That's 6 months away. We'll worry about it in April next year. All right, everyone, I'm going to get out of here and get on to my next project. I'll be down on Main Street doing just filming a fall festival, testing out my audio setups and video setup. This is, I think, the first event I'll be filming with my 16 Pro Max. Really like it, by the way. Absolutely like it. 16 Pro Max. Something else I really like, you know I have the DJI mics. DJI Mic 2. Or this one. Yeah, there we go. The DJI Mic 2, which I talk about. Fantastic, fantastic wireless microphone system. I actually switched from recording 32-bit back to 24-bit because I'm not utilizing the 32-bit in any of my live things that I do. So I switched back to 24-bit just to save a little space. Great system. But this is my new system that I really, really like. It's the Boya system. It's a copy of the DJI system, but it's $200 less. And these little mics and everything are fantastic. You can record internally, 24-bit, the same as the DJI. You can't record 32-bit, but you can record 24-bit. Takes a microphone, has a very, very strong magnet. The quality seems to be very, very good. One of the things that there's a couple of things this system has that the DJI does not have. The mic input can be used as a line input from a mixing board. It's got a little mic line switch right here. So you can use it as a microphone, or I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try it. You can hook it up directly to a mixing board with the right adapters, put it online. That's something that the DJI does not have. I didn't see that coming. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to test it out before the Creative Summit to see if it's going to work. And if that's the case, I'll put one of these at the mixing board so I get very clean audio back to my filming. The other thing it has that the DJI does not have, magnetic charging. Let me see if I can get that light shining. There you go. Magnetic charging. You can just set this down on a magnetic charging thing and it'll charge the case. USB-C as well, but the DJI does not have magnetic charging. This is better. It's got a touch screen. It's got a scroll wheel. This is the only one that has a touch screen that works. This is not a touch screen. It has a rudimentary screen, but you got to use a dial on the side, a menu system. This is an actual touch screen. Plus, it's got a dial. Plus, it's got a dial. So, a wonder, I canceled my iPhone 16 Pro Max for much better camera with better sensor and interchangeable lenses. I'm done with using my phone for Pro. Well, I have both. I have two iPhones. I have a 15 Pro Max and I have a 16 Pro Max. I also have a Lumix S5 Mark II-X full frame 6K camera that can record Apple Pro, what is not Apple Log? What's the other thing? Apple Pro something that's supposed to be great externally. Or B-RAW, Apple Pro RAW, or B-RAW, Blackmagic RAW, with the appropriate, it outputs both of those via HDMI, but you got to have a recorder that records both of those. So I have an iPhone 15 Pro Max, an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Lumix S5 Mark II-X. Love that camera. I have prime lenses for it. It's full frame. It does great low light, great audio, etc., etc. So I have both. And I use what's appropriate. And I use what is appropriate for the job. Sometimes I use the iPhone, sometimes I use the Lumix. I haven't decided if I'm going to bring the Lumix to the Creative Summit yet. Maybe for some of the, if there's any dark rooms, maybe the bar will be dark. I'll film in there with the Lumix. But we'll see if I have room when I pack everything up. When I pack everything up, I got a new suitcase this year. Most of the stuff I have is electronics. It's cameras, lenses, batteries, chargers, cables, microphones, my phones. These two will be coming with me. And of course, I have clothes in there as well, but most of it is electronics. And I bring my coffee setup with me. I bring a stainless steel pour-over kettle, electric kettle. I bring ground up coffee. I bring my AeroPress thing. I bring filters and a lot of gizmos. And I'll be doing the same this year. And I bring my MacBook Pro for live streaming. And now this year I have the iPad Pro. The 1 terabyte iPad Pro. Oh, it gives me a second screen when I'm in a hotel room broadcasting live. I'd never had that before. That'd be great. And it's a bigger screen to watch movies on the airplane. Usually I download a bunch of Netflix TV shows, whole series to watch, pass the time on the airplane. All right, I'm going to get out of here and get down to my other project for the day. I'll see everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. Final Cut TV and Coffee. Don't forget to subscribe over there and leave thumbs up over there on YouTube. It's appreciated. Richard Taylor TV. And you can also, as you know, buy me a coffee. Buymeacoffee.com, Richard Taylor. It's appreciated. It's appreciated. Don't forget. If I don't see you, if nothing happens in the world of Final Cut this week, which I really don't really anticipate, I expect Apple to be announcing their Apple event for the end of October, November the 1st. Apple event, and so they'll probably send invitations out this week for the following week. I'll be tuning into that. We'll be talking about that when it happens. But anything else happens in the world of Final Cut, you know where to go. Richard Taylor TV over there on Facebook. Richard Taylor TV on X, Twitter. Richard Taylor TV on Instagram. Richard Taylor TV on YouTube. I think I have other accounts. I have a Twitch account. I'm not a gamer, but I got one. Richard Taylor TV over there. Blue Sky that I never go to. It's like dead zone. I never go there. But anyway, everywhere Richard Taylor TV. All my social media, except for Buy Me a Coffee, that's just Richard Taylor. Everything's Richard Taylor TV. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you, if not before, I'll see you next week.